us.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's all the repressed, suppressed stuff from the past that's trying to unwind or melt or whatever. And it just feels really, I just feel really, really tired, like I haven't slept for a year or something.
Yeah, I mean, anything that's coming up and there's like trying to push it down, it's gonna feel exhausting because you're fighting with yourself. But that what you are is neither heavy nor light. It's not it's not limited to these dualities. In this stillness, you feel more of that stuff arising because suppression is an activity. Running away from these feelings are an activity. Resisting the feelings is an activity. So by relaxing, that's why people don't like relaxing, because when you relax, that all of that running and fighting, that is relaxed. So then you're forced to meet all of the stuff that you have been fighting, all of the stuff that you're running from. And that's where you're able to experience more of that, all of that unconscious stuff. It's like the water, like on a windy day, the water, there's a lot of current in the water, a lot of waves, activity on the surface. But when the water is still, that's when you're able to, you have that clarity, you can see to the bottom. You can see what's here. So like the busy mind, the active mind, it's like it can't see to the bottom. There's just too much activity. So you're not aware of what's below the surface of that activity. When that activity is stilling via just relaxing, and that activity settles down. Now there's a stillness to the water. Now there's the clarity of the water. You can see what's there. You can see it. You accept it. You can love it. That this is seeing all of that unconscious stuff, all of the repressed emotions. They're repressed because repression is an unconscious pushing down. Suppression, you know you're pushing it down. It's like you go
Yeah,
through
this
a breakup
feels,
and you lost the relationship. Oh, I lost the relate. Let me just start eating ice cream, watching Netflix. Let me call a friend. Let me go out. Let me just keep myself busy. People say this, someone passed away or I got, you know, uh, into a breakup or something happened. I lost my job. I just need to keep my mind busy. But that is suppression because you know you're keeping yourself busy. You know you're occupying the mind, meaning you're distracting yourself from the emotions. You know there's an elephant in the room that you just don't want to deal with. So then it's like, let me distract myself. So in relaxing, true relaxation, you're not distracting yourself. So it's
I
the
thought
absence of
like,
coping mechanisms. So when you don't have those coping mechanisms, you don't have some sort of like buffer. You don't have a safety, protective layer. You have to then meet it without your soother, your safety blanket. This is a maturity. We can't
I
just be
thought with,
like a child, like a baby, and just want to hold on to like mommy's hand and a stuffed animal and stuff. It's meeting these emotions.
I thought though with like feeling more spaciousness and loosening in the body, that some of these, I don't know what to call them, patterns or whatever, energetic stuff would loosen up, but it does the opposite. It holds on even tighter. Well, that's what I'm feeling anyway, that the restriction somehow, it's like it knows. When I say it, I don't know what other word to use for it, but it's just some of this stuff's just holding on even more. I feel that's what it feels like to me, unless it's that the buffering, the armor's being loosened, and it's always been this tight, but never felt known my body to be so tight, the energetic body, as now.
Well, you experience it in like waves and like layers, because it's like as as like the you know the stuff that's at the bottom, the depths of this, lake or ocean, it's the darkest, right? So as
Mm.
that starts coming up, it's like, oh, the stuff on the top, the light stuff, you're like, I can handle that. Sure, opening up, that one felt pretty good, release. But now there's some, the deeper you go, the darker it is.
Mm.
And it's like, whoa, that's too much now. So now there's the resisting, and that's the tension that you feel, this tightening. So it's not that it's tightening, it's just that as there's more and more relaxation, then there's just, you know, more stuff that you just were not aware of. And that stuff scares you, right? And
Mm.
now you have to experience that. But so now it's like, whoa, that's too much now. So like this, it's like you're just handling what you can handle essentially. And that's fine. And that's fine.
It feels very dense, like wading in treacle. That sort of feeling. I got very heavy,
Yeah.
but it's not so much like, it doesn't feel like a story coming up. It's felt. It's more a felt. I don't even know what some of it is about. It
Sure.
just feels yucky though.
Well, that's all of this needs to be put on the back burner, needs to just put aside the describing it. Because what you're doing is you're talking about emotions instead of feeling emotions. You're thinking about emotions instead of feeling emotions. This one's really dark. This one's really heavy. This one's really tight. This does nothing. So that's what needs to be relaxed, is the description of the experience. And you see, coming back to what Eunice would bring up, see how he was describing, cloud, dusty, wall, painting. This is just describing the experience. This is thinking about life instead of experiencing life. So it happens the same way with emotions. Thinking about thinking. I think you posted something like that just the other day. You're thinking
Thinking
about
about thinking
thinking.
at the level of thinking.
Yeah, I
Mm.
mean, thinking about thinking, thinking about emotions, thinking about sounds, thinking about smells, thinking there's just that's this buffer. It's not like it doesn't have this immediacy.
Well, I tried the primal screaming. I think that just excited it even more.
I don't know. Maybe. Maybe as you loosen up, as this kind of it's just like how Sim was saying, like you're just allowing these thoughts to come up. Well, watch out. There's going to be some dark thoughts that come up. You might experience these thoughts that are like serial killer type of thoughts. But this is what just happens is this is like the dark stuff.
I feel I can handle the thoughts because if some stupid, silly thought comes up, it just comes and it goes, and I don't judge myself and think, oh gosh, I've had a dark negative thought. It's the felt sense of it, not so much the thoughts,
Yeah.
the stuckness.
Yeah.
It's energetic rather than a narrative in the head. Because I've had some stupid thoughts and I've just thought, oh, right, okay, just let it go. Doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. Well, for most for most it's about emotions. Like that's I mean, it's all energy, but that's what people describe as this energetic. It's the emotion, it's the energy in motion. And it's the resistance to those emotions, which is experienced as I'm afraid to feel. And this is what I mean. It's like this kind of you experience this emotional maturity, this maturity to feel. And you hear this when you talk to people because it's like you mention a topic and then it's like triggering to them. They go, I don't want to go there. No, no. Can we change the topic? Or they want to leave the conversation. So they kind of avoid these mature conversations because of the emotions, the feeling. It's like, I don't want to go there. But it's like, it's right here. What do you mean? You can't escape it. You're not going to it. You're meaning it's already in you. You're trying to escape it. So
Mm.
it's like, when is that going to happen? You just meet
So
this
it's not the body that's, sometimes I think, is it the body that's scared because of a lot of fear and intent? I've had intense anxiety like I've never had before, really. I've had bad anxiety before, but this is on a different level. And then I think, well, is it the body that's holding on because the body's scared as well?
No, I mean, we can't like personify things and give them their own like, it's the body that's scared. Well, is it the body that's scared or the mind that's scared? That's like saying
But the body does have,
can a sound be scared? Can a smell be scared?
but the body does have like a human body does have a different sort of intelligence from a dog's body. I know the essence is the same, but there is that, the physiology, it does have an intelligence of its own.
No.
It's like, I'll give you an example. When I went to the countryside, I cut my finger on a wire.
Okay.
And so the body does have an intelligence because it's like it starts then to protect itself, like a little bit swollen, and and I don't know what it does. I don't know the physiology, but so it does have an intelligence for self-preservation. That's the perspective I'm if the body sensing, or if I have this big release or let go of this, then yeah, there is a mind story in there as well. But to me, it feels like the body as well. I know the body and mind are one, but yeah, it's just
It
how I
doesn't.
feel sometimes.
It,
Yeah.
it's it doesn't have an intelligence. It's made of intelligence, and this intelligence is the essence of everything. And this intelligence is love. And this love, intelligence, that is the essence of everything, is you. It is what I was pointing at in that meditation. The body is made of you. You are this intelligence. Intelligence is what you are, it's not what you have. It's like a wave, right? The body is an activity, the mind is an activity. What you're saying is like, oh, the mind has an intelligence of its own. The body has an intelligence of its own. That's like saying like a wave has water. No, it doesn't have water, it's made of water. It's the water that's formed itself into a wave. It's the intelligence that's in form.
Yeah, but I kind of feel upset because I feel sorry for the body in a way because of all this intense anxiety, the pressure on the body.
But why are you like making it into its own thing?
Because it feels like that.
Because there's the belief in separation and you believe to be the body. When you believe to be separate, you look through this lens of separation and experience everything as separate. So if I believe myself to be separate, I then experience the home in front of me. That's separate. That's got its own separate existence. The tree has its separate existence. You know, this bed has a separate existence. The cloud has a separate existence. Everything has a separate existence because I believe to have a separate existence. So that's the fundamental I don't know what word here to use, confusion, error, misconception. This misconception is a misperception. You then perceive everything as separate. Nothing
I
has
do
a
feel
separate
that
existence.
even in this spaciousness, oneness, whatever you want to call it, um, there is that sense of aloneness anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at home with my family at the moment, but I still feel alone.
Yeah. You feel lonely.
It feels more than lonely. It feels because I'm used to being on my own, physically, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
This feels different. This feels like, especially when this oneness feels very solid and more obvious than like a drowning feeling that obviously I'm not drowning, but it's like a drowning heavy feeling. And I feel, I can see other bodies walking around, but it's just this sense of aloneness. It's because I felt lonely and this is different.
Mm-hmm.
It's alone.
Mm-hmm. Well, our nature is aloneness. First, we experience loneliness, which I describe as the absence of others. And then we experience aloneness, which is the presence of yourself. So you can be alone, but never lonely. And the mind doesn't like this aloneness because this aloneness is like, to the mind, it's the end of the mind. So then there's
So
like
that's
the thoughts, which then it's like, oh, I'm like with others. But there are no others. There's just you. If everything is one and everything is you, that's what I've been saying. That's the core message. Of course you're alone.
yeah. So when this presence gets more obvious and more strong than the senses, then it's the mind that's feeling that as alone.
Maybe. I mean, I know what you're saying. It's not about it getting stronger. It doesn't get stronger. It's you could say like getting used to it when you're
Yeah, yeah. Well, getting used to it, because always before it's been the mind, everything's been about the mind, and then it's like a new thing to the mind's come online, and it's kind of it doesn't really know what it is, but it's sensing. Oh, it's like a dog being a bit territorial when another dog comes into the house.
Sure. I mean, there's a lot of people that talk to themselves so they don't feel lonely. Like they created their own like imaginary friend that they talk to. You just see them. They're walking down the street, kind of talking, and so like, who are you talking to? Myself. Okay. But now consider you're doing that, but you're not verbally saying it out loud. You're talking to, it's like there's something talking all the time. When that voice starts getting quieter, you start experiencing more of this loneliness because it's like your imaginary friend is disappearing.
Yeah.
It's just you. When imaginary friend starts quieting.
That's the aloneness.
Yeah.
That's the aloneness that I meant that.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. A lot of people point to like, well, no, I'm not like, I've been by myself for, I've been single for the last 5 years. I'm not lonely, or like I've they'll kind of dismiss it. They're like, no, like I'm good with being all by myself. Yeah, but you're all by yourself, but you got this mind that's just going talking to you. You're not really. When I say like by yourself, I mean like without the mind. You think like by myself because you're just in your apartment, you're like without your friends and stuff. You're like, I can go a couple days without making a phone call to, mom and dad and other people. But I mean, no, like the true aloneness is aloneness without mind, without that chatter, without the imaginary friend.
Because I'm here with my family and I'm feeling it here.
The imaginary friend is who you think you are.
It's funny because I hear a lot of people say, oh, my mind's driving me crazy, I can't stand it. But then once it's not there, it's like, then they're not comfortable either. And then when the noise of the mind isn't there in your head, that's when I'm feeling this other stuff more coming up as well with intensity.
Yeah. Yep. So then the mind will come online to try and describe those feelings, which is then a form of protection, and it's a form of resistance. Resistance shows up in the form of thinking.
That's what's been happening. I think when I've gone well, not that I've gone deeper, when there's like going into a warehouse and turning the light on and seeing most of the stuff, when it's starting coming up, then the mind that was quiet, then it's like creating a story to take the attention up into the attic instead of being in the basement. That's what it feels like is happening.
Sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's what feels safe, right? It's, you could see this in yourself. Isn't it safer to talk about your feelings to me than to actually feel them? You feel like a safety to talk about the feeling being so dark and feeling heavy and feel tight but in actually feeling it doesn't feel like that. Those are just, you're describing it because you're standing at a distance from the emotion. That's why you're able to describe it. To actually feel it, there's no you in the emotion. There's just the emotion.
Well, I try and do that at night when I can't sleep. So I'm not talking to anyone. And then I'll, let it myself feel. And then the mind will come online then as well sometimes and start labeling it or something. But that's the other trap. I was trying to tell myself to sit down and I should be feeling more and I should be feeling all this stuff. And then I realized that's coming from the mind because it's goal orientated. Oh, I have to now feel this rage or this anger or this sadness or whatever it is. And like putting that pressure on myself that I have to feel and release all this stuff. And then I thought, but that's also a trap.
Yeah, that's I just saw that Shivali's got her hand up, so let's end it with this. But
Okay.
that's also very subtle. Like you can't that's a lot. That's pretty what's there here, like popular, prevalent in a lot of like the shadow work circles and stuff, where it's like, I'm not going to sit down, I'm not going to go out to the bar tonight, I'm not going to go to the movies, I'm going to cancel my date, and I'm going to just feel my stuff tonight, I'm going to shadow work tonight. It's not like that. You can't go into it with tension and objective and goals, and you can't go into it with force. It's actually, it's relaxing. It's like it sneaks up on you when you're the most relaxed. It's like it just surfaces, because in that relaxation, what's being relaxed is the constant fighting, is the constant running. So that's why it kind of just like sneaks up on you when you're taking a bath, or you're just going for a walk, and it's just kind of like a thought comes up, and then an emotion comes up kind of with it, maybe a flash of a past memory, and then it's like, oh, and then you'll see like the thinking will come back online and kind of guard and protect from that. But you can't say like, oh, I should be feeling my feelings, I should be doing this. Because I always say, like, as much as I say feel the feelings, to feel your feelings is effortless. It's a non-doing. You don't do anything to feel feelings. You have to do something to fight feelings. But feeling feelings is a non-doing. So by just simply being, then the emotions come up. Like how I was saying with Eunice, like the doing, labeling and describing and judging and criticizing, interpreting, all of this is a doing. When this is happening, you're not feeling feelings, because you're just thinking about the experience instead of actually experiencing it as it is. Right? So there's a suppression of that by just resting as I don't know. This nakedness, this innocence. Well, this nakedness, this innocence is what you call vulnerability. That's why I say, it's like this. I'm not doing this to judge anyone, but can you just show up on the camera right now? Or is there a hiding? Is there a concealing? Is there a protecting? There's a nakedness to show up as you are. Right? So it's like that, is there's a nakedness to yourself. There's a nakedness to this moment. It's an openness. It's a vulnerability. It's an innocence. It's unprotected. So in this nakedness that is unprotected and open, well, that's everything's felt. It's felt. That's why I said, like, the thinking, it's like an armoring. It's like a shield and a sword, and it's like an armor. Criticizing, it's like attacking the moment. Defending yourself. All of this is like, it's an activity. But what is prior to that activity? And to just simply rest as that which is prior to that activity, you're then feeling this moment fully, whatever appears. And in actually feeling it, and actually just being with what it is, remember, you're not labeling it. So you wouldn't even have the label. This is anger. This is rage. This is grief. This is, you don't even have those labels, because you're just resting as total, just like a baby prior to language. So it's purely energetic. It's energetic without description, without label, without any of that. It's prior to language. There's just a rawness to it. And on that level, anything can be felt. But those are good. Shivali